Okay, I want to let you know the recording is on now.
Okay.
Dawn. And I have not heard back from Tony. I know it's already 6:35 and I wonder, Holly, are you here, honey?
Yes, I'm here.
So have you seen Tony show up in the other room, maybe?
Nope. I'm in the other room on my phone. He's I'm gonna check again though, because this is
Oh, he's missing a link. Okay, give me a sec, or let's see. Let's see what the easiest way to get him a link is. I could send him to that other room. Okay,
Do
I'm
you
gonna
want me-
mute me. Oh,
Okay.
go ahead, Hal.
Do you want me to send it to him?
Oh, why don't you do that? Can you do that right in chat?
Right. Yep, right
Okay.
away.
Thank you. Modern technology.
Gotta love it.
You gotta love it, I know. Okay.
Has any of you guys ever seen that movie Death Becomes Her with Meryl Streep and Goldie Hawn?
Yes, I've seen that.
Y'all look good. So do you take that potion? Because I need to know.
No. Man, oh man. I think
When I first started Ohio Media, I said, "Look, I'm just here because I need Botox, and my husband needs knee surgery. He's the athlete that I always wanted. I never got. I need some Botox, maybe
Oh
some
my
lip filler
God.
because my top lip it disappears when I laugh."
Aw, sorry.
Those are good lines, Dawn. So I think that Tony is attempting to get on. So I'm going to get everybody rolling that's here, and we know we're going to be growing as we go along. But this way, when Tony hops on, we can make him a presenter. And you know, we live in that world where there's technical difficulties here and there. So for everybody that is here right now, I want to thank you for joining us. If you've arrived here with our beautiful Myra, you're in the right place. This is the BeOnAir Forum. If you're following us in real time, we thank you. If you're going to follow us after our real time, you're going to find us on YouTube, and we ask you to like and subscribe and to check out all of the wonderful episodes that have preceded this one and have that opportunity to learn from a pro to be a pro. My name is Linda Lejeski. For those of you who have not met me, I am the National Employer Representative for the BeOnAir Network of Media Schools, which are 7 media schools that include Ohio Media School, Cleveland, Columbus, and Cincinnati, Illinois Media School, 2 in Chicago, Colorado Media School in Denver, and Miami Media School, which is just that, in beautiful Miami. This program is in its 2nd year. It was designed to bring our guests, our students, our graduates, and anybody that joins us the opportunity to meet industry pros and not only listen to the advice and to learn from them, but most importantly, have an open microphone where you can ask questions as we move through the hour. It's a career services initiative, and this is really all about growing people up so they can level up their businesses and learn and network and really become that professional they're looking to become. Please use the chat option. If you have used Teams before, you'll see a little circle up at the top of your screen. Feel free to use that to put any questions in for our guest. Also, there is an opportunity to raise your hand on the little icon above. If you click on that, you'll get numbered, in sequence of your questions. And as we move through the hour, you'll have a chance to be called on and ask your questions directly to Myra. So we are here for an exciting hour to really take a look at discovering how to fuel your passion into your career. Tony Lopez is due to join us. We'll see if he's hopped on here. I don't see him yet. He's due to be your moderator. Tony is an on-air personality. He's an alumni of Illinois Media School. He also is an instructor. He's part of our national branding team. He's a super cool guy, so we're going to hope he gets that link and gets on because he's a lot of fun to have as a moderator. And of course, our featured guest, which is Myra Cates, who is an alumnus of Ohio Media School, Cincinnati. And what a terrific person. You're going to have a great treat tonight. Myra has really grown a nice career. She has always wanted to be on TV and become that personality. And through a wonderful sequence of events, which many of you understand, she's been grown and nurtured up, mentored up to wind up in the position that she is today. And she's really loving her career. She is a broadcast engineer, which is very unique. There's not a lot of women that are in the industry doing that job. She's at WCPO in Cincinnati, Channel 9 News. She's co-host of New Day Cincinnati, which I think is probably her favorite thing she's doing right now. She's an operations engineer, and she really aspires to be on air. But more important than that, what she's learned through that she's going to talk about is her commitment to community service. And as many of you know, when you get into the news and you really engage in your community, there's so many opportunities to help others. And once you hop into the industry of media, Myra's going to share with you how the doors have started to open and what she's doing to pursue her passion. So without further ado, we're going to welcome you, Myra. We're so happy to have you here today. I'm going to see if we've got Tony a little bit closer. But as we get started, why don't I give a welcome to you, and why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got started in your career since you graduated from school? What led you to where your start is right now?
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm so happy that you guys are here, and I'm so happy to have been invited to be here. So how I got started was during college or during school. I had to do a lot of internships, like we all have to. I think we had over 600 hours, and doing all the interning, I discovered that I was really good behind the camera instead of just in front of the camera. I was decent in front of the camera, but of course, when interning, you got to do a lot of work behind the camera. So I ended up being really good at that. And one of my internships, they ended up hiring me before I ended school because he had liked me so much, and he liked my attitude. He liked that I was reliable, and so he hired me. And it was just at a public TV station, like PBS. It wasn't really PBS. It's actually from Northern Kentucky, the Telecommunications Board of Northern Kentucky. But yeah, I got hired, and it was only part-time. I was doing daycare at the time, like running a daycare out of my house because I have 3 kids. And so, yeah, I wasn't able to quit daycare just yet. So I was like, darn it. But I had always wanted to get hired at Channel 9. Like when I first went to the Ohio Media School, like my goal was to get hired at Channel 9. I really wanted to work there. I watched them all the time. So I was just like, that's the place where I want to work. And while in school, they didn't take any interns. And I was just, like upset, like, why don't they do internships at Channel 9? Like, that's where I want to be. However, one of the guys that used to go to Ohio Media School, which used to be called the Ohio Center for Broadcasting, he worked at Channel 9, and he was like, well, if you want to come in, I met him during an internship that I was doing with another public access channel. And he was like, well, if you want to come in and you can just like shadow me for a night, like on a Sunday or something. And I'm like, okay, that sounds great. I will definitely come because I want to see what it looks like in there. I've been wanting to go to that building for forever. And so, yeah, I went and shadowed him for a night. He was in the studio. He was a studio technician running teleprompter, and pointing the cameras and whatnot. And while I was there, I just made sure that I networked. I met his supervisor, and I talked with him. And, you know, like social media is a beast. Like you can do anything with social media. So anytime I met anyone in the industry, I made sure that I friended them on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, anything that I could. And yeah, it was like shortly after I graduated, I think he called or he messaged me, I think it was via Facebook, and he was like, "Are you still looking for a job?" And I'm like, "Of course I am." And they were hiring studio technicians at Channel 9. And so I was like, "Oh my God, I am so in." It takes them a while to hire you, but so long story short, you know, I started off as studio technician and I kept listening, keeping my ears open, and I made lots of friends and they pointed me in the right direction, moving me up to, I started as operations engineer like shortly after starting studio technician. I think I started in February as a studio technician and I moved to engineering by like March or April. So it was really quick jump, but yeah, and they trained me and everything. It was awesome. And it wasn't until recently that I was able to join A New Day, the TV show, because the old host, Mona Morrow, she retired, and Mona was so sweet and so nice. And like, I had talked with her. I was like, "Do you think that I could, you know, maybe host a show or, you know, be on it?" And she was like, "Yeah, you need to talk to our general manager, talk to Jeff, and he will definitely put you on." And I was scared at first. And I was like, "I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know." But she encouraged me. She pushed me. She would email me and she'd be like, "Myra, did you ask Jeff if you could be on the show?" And I'd be like, "Oh no." And I finally, you know, gained the courage to go and ask him. And here we are today. It's been just over a year that I've been on A New Day. So
Wow, congratulations. That's really quite a story. And if I go back and, you think about Cincinnati, what is Cincinnati's market number?
we're in the 30s. I think we're around
Mhm.
33, 34.
Okay, so I mean, you're kind of up in that upper third of market size. And so, for you to come out of school and really be able to move in, like for somebody to come and seek you versus them getting application is really a big deal. I think you mentioned, pardon me, that you felt a little bit nervous in coming in. Tell me what kept you going? Like, how did you keep your nerves down and keep your energy up?
I think it was the fact that Mona was definitely encouraging, and then I had other people around me. All of my engineering friends and production friends, they're like a family to me. So
Mhm.
they were very encouraging and loving. And like once you get comfortable with those guys, those people who are running teleprompter, the people who are doing the cameras, and it's like okay, these guys are just my family. They're my friends. It's like doing a show in front of all my friends and family. So
Wow.
it becomes
Yeah,
easier.
that's real. So your personality. Oh, there's Tony. So glad that you're here. Thank you, Tony. You looked so wonderful together. So
Hello, I am so sorry. We had some technical difficulties getting into today's webinar, so I do apologize to you, Myra. So sorry.
awesome. I'm gonna throw the ball to you. You ready to roll, Tony? Feel pretty good?
Yeah, I've been in and out the conversation, so I've been hearing a little bit of what you guys have been talking about, so we should be good. But welcome everyone to the webinar, Myra. Obviously, you've been talking already, so
Yeah.
you've been doing your thing here. And yeah, I actually will continue the conversation.
Good.
You being in news, I worked 3 years at a sports news station. So I know how intense it could be. My first question I was going to ask you when we first started was, how was it dealing with things off the cuff? You know, what news could change instantly. Me working in
Mhm.
sports, same ordeal. It doesn't change whether it be entertainment, regular local news or sports. I mean, things can change. How was that adjustment for you right when you got into the station?
Right when I got into the station, I would say like being a studio technician, it's not too much of a big deal, but being an operations engineer, it really is, because in engineering, we're the ones who are getting the news on. We're the ones who are, making sure we're bringing in the video and making sure that, everybody's looking good and getting us on air when there's breaking news, when there's severe weather. And the one thing that I do love about working for the news is that everything changes all the time. So like no 2 days are the same. Like it's never a dull moment at work. We can never say like, oh, this is the same thing as yesterday, because there's always something exciting going on. And so I get nervous, but I think it's like an excited nervous, and it makes the day go by so quickly. I love breaking news. I love severe weather. Like that's the stuff that I live for in news. So yeah.
That's awesome. Obviously before you get to the station, you had to do potentially some schooling, right? as we all did. What internships did you have that got you to that point? Or what internships or opportunities assisted you to get into the role that you're in?
Well, I was telling the story before. So it was basically Channel 9 did not have any internships. Channel 5 had internships, and I tried to get into Channel 5 for their internship program, and I did not get accepted. And like, it was just, I don't know. I had that drive to just keep going. It was like, well, I need these 600 hours of interning. And so I'm just gonna keep doing my public access work and, keep doing the behind the camera kind of thing. And I just knew something was going to happen. Something was going to open up because we have multiple stations here in Cincinnati. So it was just like, it was only a matter of time before I networked my way into the right place.
Yeah, no, that's when you put in the hard work, you will see benefits from it. Absolutely. And you definitely are a testament to that. Did you have any mentors at all during the process, or anyone that really stood out to you that really pushed you through or kind of made you understand the business?
I wouldn't say I had any mentors, but I did have a lot of people who encouraged me and taught me a lot of stuff, like Jason Dudas. He works at TBNK, Telecommunications Board of Northern Kentucky. He was the guy that gave me my first job, and he taught me a lot, and he encouraged me, and he gave me a lot of opportunities. Like he even had this little show that he would do on his public access station, and he would bring me in as a camera operator, and he would tell me all the little details to do, like zoom in, zoom out, let's pan, we got to give this. And he made me a little bit more artsy with my camera work. And then I also had another guy, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Kenneth, that's what his name, Kenneth Allen. He also worked the trucks, for sports, because we did a lot of sports. That was a lot of fun. I actually missed doing sports like football games and basketball games and all that good stuff. But he showed me the ropes, and I worked so much for Kenneth that he would actually let me direct shows. Like whenever we're doing a football game or something, he would let me be in the truck, and I was calling the cameras and everything. So it was really, really awesome. I just had a lot of people who were just, teaching me things and showing me things. And I wouldn't say I had a specific mentor. I just had a lot of people who loved me.
Yeah. That's awesome. And yeah, I do apologize if there's a repeat question in here because I was trying to get in. I do apologize. But can you tell us about your first job in the industry and what was that like for you?
Okay. My first job in the industry was at TBNK, and it was public access, and I was just running a camera. So I would do a lot of like city council meetings, like boring stuff. So it's like city council meetings. I know. And then like the fun stuff was like the basketball games and the football games, and they weren't like special game. I mean, I guess they were special, but they were for small schools. I wasn't doing UC or Xavier or anybody like that. I was doing like not Taylor, what is it called? Thomas More College, the small private school. I was doing high school stuff. I remember I did a swim meet that was really hot and humid. I also did soccer for high school, and I did a wrestling match at one point. So, I started off very small, and they didn't even pay much either, but you got to start somewhere. So that was my first job out of college.
I feel like all us media personnel have a very interesting first job story, and something to go back and smile at. So I feel that. I feel that 100%
Yeah.
when you're explaining it. You know, when it comes to engineering itself, what does one have to do to get a position, to get a job, pretty much? Because engineering is a very specific, it's a specific job description, and not everyone can do it. So what really did you have to show in order to get a position like that?
I would say that I got lucky slash, God was looking out for me, because what I had to do to be in engineering was start off as a studio technician, and I needed to learn quickly, and I needed to stick my neck out there and try, give it, like, just trust in myself. So when I got to 9, I was a studio tech. And then somebody was saying how somebody was leaving, and there was going to be an open spot in engineering, and it was only part-time, of course, too. And like, that's another thing, you can't be scared that it's only part-time, because it's going to eventually move up to something else. So I just asked my manager, I'm like, asked the manager of engineering, I'm like, hey, I'm interested in doing that, can I give it a try? And they were like, okay, like, and
Yeah.
they brought me in, they started training me on all the stuff, and I learned quickly, and I showed that I could do the work. I mean, it wasn't easy. I had many days where, I was crying, and I felt like I sucked and I couldn't do this. But you know what? I woke up the next morning, I pulled up my big girl panties, and I said, I'm going to do this again.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
It's definitely intense. I definitely, again, can relate to all of that with you. So I know that's not the easiest position to be in, but you, again, being a success, you push through, and you roll with the punches, and that's what it's all about in this industry. As you know, you got to roll with the punches, you got to keep pushing, and you're, again, a testament to that. Um, with the school, it's Ohio Media School, and what you had went through. Um, did you collaborate with anybody at all from the school to get into the position you were now, or did you know anybody at the school, or did you hear about it at the school? Exactly, how did you hear about the position?
when I was interning with, I think it was called Waycross, and I had came across another guy who, Waycross was another public access station that I did intern with. The guy that I came across, he was just like volunteering his time at the time, I guess, or maybe he was working part-time. I don't know what he was doing, but he worked at Channel 9. And so I was just like, oh, you work at Channel 9? What do you do? And so like, I made sure that I became friends with him, and I networked with
Nice.
him on social media. And then I started, he had said like, well, yeah, I'm a studio tech, and you can come on in and you can shadow me. I know that we don't take interns, but you can just see what I do. And that's how I got into Channel 9, and I met his supervisor. And when I met his supervisor, I made sure that I friended him on LinkedIn, and I friended him on Facebook. And yeah, I just made sure I kept in touch with that guy from Channel 9, and, like, liking his things that he's posting, letting him know what I'm doing. So, like, we were friends.
Yeah. You gotta be sometimes, and the smallest snippet from what you're saying here too. I was funny. My personal story was I sent my resume every week. He had it. I still sent it. So you gotta do whatever you gotta do,
Yeah.
which is awesome. It's great to hear that story from you, Myra. New Day, that's how did you become a co-host? How did that happen for you? Well, co-host on New Day, it's a pretty big deal.
I know. For the longest time, I wanted to be on air, and I actually tried out for the traffic position like years ago, and I was terrible, and so they didn't hire me as a traffic reporter. So, yeah, like, luckily I got myself together, gained some confidence, and Mona Morrow, she used to be the host of A New Day. She was actually the creator of the show of A New Day, and she was retiring, and I felt like this is the time, this is perfect because I love community work. I love helping the community. I love volunteering. And like during my internship, I used to do a kind of a online TV show. It's called 401 TV Online. And I was able to find my own stories. I was able to write my own stories. And this is what a new day gave to me. A new day, I am able to produce it pretty much myself, me and my director and my other co-hosts, we all produce it together so we can go out there and we can find the people who we want to be on the show. We don't got anybody else telling us who to put on our show. And so, yeah, I was like, okay, now I can go out and find the people I want and I can write my own things and I can be Myra instead of, I'm reporting live from the scene. Like, that's so fake. And
Yeah.
I mean, more power to the reporters who can do that. But I like doing what I do because it brings more good to the world.
And for those that don't know what New Day is, what is the show about exactly?
A New Day is a community affairs show. So we're all about, people who are making the community better. For instance, I had on A New Day a mentoring program, and then we've had people on who are, helping women, become better, I don't want to say better community members, but better at their jobs, and becoming more confident. And we've had, Goodwill people on, we had, I don't know, we had all sorts of people. We have all sorts of people on our show that are doing something in the community that's, making it better, doing a good job, or trying to better themselves and the community at the same time.
That's awesome. I mean, to see that, to be put into production, using your platform to do so, you know how that is. It's a great way to do it. And it's with how things are now, especially post COVID. Besides the show itself, I know that you must use your social media to take advantage of the opportunities to reach out to people, specifically with the show itself, or anything that you do. How do you use your social media for that? What platforms do you use, and how do you go about it?
Oh my goodness. I use Facebook a lot because I feel like my community affairs show is more geared towards like the older community, not older, but more mature. It's usually like 35 plus age group. And so most of us 35-year-olds or older are doing more with Facebook. I might use Instagram here and there, but mostly Facebook. And honestly, I find a lot on Facebook. We have our segment called A Better Day, and I've used a food pantry from Facebook that I found on Facebook. And I was like, oh, they, offer food to anybody, because a lot of like the food pantries around here, you have to live in a certain area, you have to meet a certain income limit or whatever. But this food pantry was like, yeah, we accept anybody. You guys can come on out. We're open from this time to this time. So I used them and I found them on Facebook. And then just recently I found another place called the Hair Palace 513, and they were giving away free braids for back to school. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like, how expensive hair can be. So for children ages 4 to 12, they were giving away free braids. Come on out, get your hair braided for back to school. So I found that on Facebook, so I use social media to, broadcast myself, but I also use social media to find other people and other things that you wouldn't normally see on TV. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, and it's important too. I mean, you know this. When you're watching news or any type of program, like we're on our phones all day, right? We're always. You can't see the phone because of the there it goes. And a lot of people get their news from the phone, like just from clips from from Facebook, like you mentioned, Instagram, whatever the case may be. So I know that you must use social media to take advantage of that opportunity, like you just mentioned right now. And it's awesome because it's right at your fingertips. You don't have to wait to go home, turn on the TV like we used to do back in the day. And that's awesome to hear that. With social media also includes a very important platform in many industries, and it's LinkedIn. Do you have presence on LinkedIn? Do you use it to connect and network with other people? How does that work out for you?
I would say I have a small presence on LinkedIn. I don't use LinkedIn as much as I probably should. I don't know if I should say should, but I just don't use it as much. I just make sure that I'm on there and people can see that I'm doing stuff, but I would say Facebook is my major social networking site, and Instagram is more. I feel like LinkedIn is more business, like it's more, I don't know, I would say it's less fun,
Less
so
fun platform. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
That's good. I have a question about school here in a second, but I guess in regards to news and being on camera or engineering, whatever that looks like for you, what's been the best moment of your career so far? What would you spotlight for us? That would be like the best moment you've experienced so far in the media industry. I know. It may take a second.
I don't know. I really like it when I am helping my coworkers, and my coworkers are noticing that I am, that I care about them. Recently, we've started these like little shout outs, via our whole like system, Workday or whatever. And so I've been able to I got a shout out from one of the reporters saying like, oh, I'm so grateful to have Myra in there. She was on top of it. She was rolling, and I had called, and like I was rolling on her live shot because it was breaking news. And then I also got a shout out from the supervisor who actually, told me about the job. He was saying how great I was doing. I'm so grateful to have Myra in the feed room and in engineering. And then I also had just recently another shout out from the creative services guy. He makes all the promos and stuff like that. And he was just like, this girl is doing great. She's on top of things. She's communicating well. So those are my best moments, when other people are grateful to have me because I'm helping them do their jobs better.
That's great. That's great. We are going to actually have some of our participants ask questions. I know there's some hands raised up. So in about 10 minutes, we'll have a Q&A time for all of our attendees. So just kind of be ready for that. We'll take them in the order that they came in, that you can ask Myra any questions that you do have. Continuing the conversation, Myra, you're going back to school.
Yeah.
That sounds exciting. What exactly are you going to school for, and what's the path for you?
All right. So my path, it's been a long journey, I must say. I am going back to school for social work. So surprise, surprise, I want to do more community work. So I want to make a difference in the world. I want to help the community. I want to help people get what they need and find the services that they need, and, just be better people. So I wanted to go back to school for social work in order to be able to help people the best way that I can. And I also wanted to go back to school too, because if you guys don't know, working in news, the hours are terrible. It's like, would you like this crappy schedule or this crappy schedule? So you have to, weigh your options.
Yeah.
And so I just, I kind of, I'm getting to the age where I just want to live kind of a little bit more of a normal life. So I don't want to wake up in the middle of the night anymore. And I just want to be on a normal schedule. But yeah, it's more about helping people and making a difference in the world.
So best of luck to you in school, and I'm sure you're going to do great. You kind of your last statement kind of leads me into my next question in regards to just the hours and so forth. I know that can be crazy with that, but what are your career objectives as of now? What do you think you want to land on in regards to your career objectives?
I think my career objectives would be to, I was looking at all the stuff that was going on during COVID, and then all of the social injustices and all the people who are just in need of help. Some people are just having a difficult time finding food, finding jobs, and everything. So I don't know, I always set my bar really, really high. So I would love, love, love to be like a city council member or a person that's working in the legislative branch and trying to change laws and trying to make things better and easier for people to get to, because it's just so challenging and so hard, and it almost feels like the system is working against us, and I want to make sure that the system is working for us.
Yeah, no, that's a great outlook on it, indeed. With your career itself, and the new goal, or not new goals, but goals that you have going forward. How would you balance your and I'm sorry, real quick, if anybody has their mic on, if they can please mute themselves, I do apologize. I think we might be getting some noise on the outside there. Or if Linda can mute them too as well. But in regards to Myra, sorry about that. What does family, personal life, work look like for you? Like, how do you balance all it out? Again, referring to relating to you as somebody who's working in the news, because I know how that can be, and I know you just mentioned waking up in the middle of the night, having to do things. How does that work out for you as a media a colleague and just somebody who works in the news?
Well, you've heard the saying that it takes a village. It really does. It takes a village to run a family and to have a career. So, like, I am using everyone, you know. I wouldn't want to say using, I would say
All hands
more
on deck.
of, yes, everybody's helping out and doing their part. You know, I'm divorced. So I think being divorced is actually helping me in this area because my ex-husband's able to, you know, take the kids when I can and watch them when I can't. For the longest time, I was on second shift because, like I said, you got to start at the bottom. So I was working 4 p.m. to midnight. So that left me no time during the week for, you know, making dinner or tucking them in at night and giving baths and all that stuff. And so that was really hard as a mom because I love being a mom. You know, being a mom is a big deal for me. But, you know, luckily, you know, I have my ex-husband, I've had my, you know, ex-father-in-law was a huge help. And I had my cousins, I had my friends. I've even had, you know, I made friends, you know, networking. Thank you, OCB, for helping me to network because, like, that's what I have to do. You know, I have to talk to their friends' moms and be like, wait, hey, can you bring them home from school? Can you, you know, take them to this event? Or, you know, and that's how I've been balancing it all out. You know, you just gotta ask for help and you gotta accept the help because we can't do it by ourselves.
Yeah, it's like anything you need that help, you need that assistance, and I'm glad you had that for yourself. But also I'm glad that you were able to persevere through it. Like, we all have personal lives, we all have things we have to deal with on the side, and we have to make a living. And this industry is not the easiest thing to do, but I think when you have a passion for it, like yourself, and like you've shown, you can pull through. And it's so great to see that from you, and have you here with us too. I guess my last question for you would be, it's a very, I guess, wide question, but what advice would you give to somebody that wants to join the media industry? This radio and TV and media has changed over the years. I myself joined when I was 19. I had no clue what I was doing. I was just like, let me see if this works out. But through hard work and perseverance, as you would know, become a success. What advice would you give to somebody who's thinking about this and says, I think I want to do this?
I would tell them to just don't give up. Believe in yourself. If you believe that you can do it, if you think that you can do it, start doing it. Take it one step at a time, one day at a time, one assignment at a time, because that's how you make it. Try not to think of the big picture. Just think of it as the one little thing that you have to do just for today. And you'll get there. You will get there. Keep working hard. Keep trying. It's not going to be easy some days, but we all make it through. I mean, I've made it through, and yeah, lots of tears, but I made it.
I hear you. I hear you, Myra. No, it's awesome. Again, I'm so sorry. Again, I had technical difficulties getting in, but these last 30 minutes we've been talking, it's been awesome here, and listening to your story. We're gonna go to some Q&A now, real quick, and questions from our participants. I do see there are some hands raised, so I'm just gonna go in the order that we received them here, real quick, and then we'll go from there. We do have Rahim. Oh, Israel. I do know this person. Israel Rahim is on as well. Israel, you raised your hand. Did you have a question? One more time, Israel, are you there? Do you have a question? Okay, I think that was a no. All right. Anthony Williams has raised his hand as well. Anthony, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Go ahead.
I'm from Ohio Media School. Anthony Williams on LinkedIn. Tony Leota on our platforms. I was wondering if you had offered like apprenticeship programs or anything like that, like, because you do exactly like what I do, and I just at this point is just trying to create a network. I've been part of media for since I was like 16. I'm 36 now. Like so, um, yeah, I went to Hughes High School where I started in communication, and then I worked at Elements Hip Hop Art Center here in Cincinnati for like 10 years, from like '08 to 18. And here I am at Ohio Media now, and I just was wondering if, I'm reaching the next step and trying to work for a network or ESPN, Fox Sports, WCPO, however, whatever I got to do, like I'm willing to do. I just was wondering if you offered anything like that.
I myself do not offer anything like that, and I know that Nine they do an internship programs now, but I'm not for sure specifically what departments, because of course at Nine we have so many different departments that do internships, and they like require they I don't for some odd reason they don't do free internships. They have to pay you in order to be an intern. But my suggestion to you would be to hit up those public access stations, man, because TB&K, I know a guy who's been, he was interning with me back in the day, and he's been working with ESPN recently, and he's been doing all kinds of sports stuff, and like he's blown up just from starting off at a little public access station. So hit up Waycross, hit up TB&K, hit up, what was the other public access station that's around here? Kenneth used to work for them. But yeah, you got to start small, unfortunately, because that's just how it goes. You have to start at the bottom.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I have we have another question that came in. This is Dawn. Is Dawn there?
Yes, hi, this is Dawn. My question is, how do you get over the confidence to ask, like all the instructors at my school, I love, but one thing I have a problem with asking because I don't want them to think that I'm using them to drop names to get in a role. How do you have the confidence to ask somebody, hey, you know, so and so needs an intern, and I know you think highly of me because you always tell me good job, but that's the thing, is how do I get the courage to ask people to if I can name drop? I mean, I'm not a name drop. Nobody likes a name dropper, but I mean, I did drop a few names when I went to go get my car. Like, look, I'm on the way. I need this car right now just in case I have to hop in it and go to Cleveland or Cincinnati. But I guess it's like when there's a role or a position, how do you bring yourself to that person? Because I'm not in it for, I don't use people. So I don't want people to have that, oh, well, she's just trying to get in where she fit in. No, I'm trying to get my education, but I don't know how to ask people, hey, can you back me up on this? You know what I mean? Because I don't have that confidence because I'm always afraid that they're going to be like, oh, she's just trying to use me. How do you get over that?
For me, it was just, knowing what I wanted and knowing that it wasn't coming from a place of me trying to use anyone. When I did my application for WCPO, I actually had references from all of my internships at the public access stations. So all I did was, make sure that I asked them, the managers, the directors, and whatever, like, can I use you as a reference? And they were like, of course, definitely, because
Yeah.
they know, so yeah, knowing that it's coming from a place of, hey, I'm just trying to get a job here, and it's coming from a good place. So you should be okay.
Yeah, I don't know why I self-doubt myself because, they've told me, yeah, use me, go ahead. But I, my heart's invested and I never want people to say, oh, Don Perella was handed this and handed that. I'm working hard. And then one thing I have is like an instructor asked me, I volunteered for the first 48, and he's like, what do you want people to say about you when they bring up your name? And I was like, well, I want them to say that I'm creative and I'm kind. He said, all I hear is you're a nice person. And at first I was like, but I work so hard. I know everybody knows I'm nice. I want credit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Mhm.
I guess it's hard. Yeah. So I guess that's another thing that's hard to me is like, how do I change that? I don't want people just to say, oh, she's really nice and sweet. You know, that shines through before I even say anything. I want people to say, wow, she's creative. She really knows her stuff. You know, she promotes people. And like, how do I get that reputation rather than, oh, she's just really nice?
For me, it was just, keeping my head down and doing a really good job, just working my butt off, and just like making sure I got those camera hits. I remember when I started at the public access station, and they used to have the Hero Cam, and the Hero Cam was like the best camera to be on. And so I
Yes.
just made it my goal to get to Hero Cam. So that's what would be my suggestion. See what's the best
I
place
got
to
there.
be in. Best, yep, and then just keep doing it and keep being awesome, because people will notice how awesome you are, and then that will start to shine as well.
Oh,
And I think
thank
our
you.
attitude, you're welcome, our attitudes are way more important than how great we do a job, because I've actually had the photography manager tell me that he hired a girl who barely knew how to work a camera, but he liked her attitude so much. He was like, she's teachable. I can teach her how to work a camera. So your attitude is way
Yes,
more
thank
important than your
you.
skills. You're welcome.
Oh, I guess I'll quit worrying then.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is like when I hear you laugh, I'm like, oh my gosh, I love her. She sounds like me.
Don, thank you so much for your questions and your kind of your experiences. We appreciate that. Uh, Linda, I saw you raised your hand a couple times. I don't know if that was by accident or if you had a question yourself.
Well, I'm really enjoying the conversation, and I just, thought I would add as I listened to Myra. Myra really gave the wisdom is let your work speak for itself. And on the other side, what I would probably like to add to the conversation is you have a network for a reason. And I think a lot of people don't realize that they look at this group of people that they accumulate as just a group of people, and they don't define what network is. Network is a two-way street. It's you and the people that are in your network, what you can offer them, what they can offer you. And so if you're really doing your network effectively, it's not about using, try to get that idea out of your mind. It's about what you can offer each other, because everybody's looking to grow and to level up or to find that right person for a job or a reference. So kind of get that out of your mind that you're not
Thank
using
you.
anybody. If you're doing it effectively, you're
Thank
allowing
you.
others to know more about you and for you to know about them.
Thank you
Yep.
so much. You just
Yep.
boosted my self-esteem.
Yeah, and Myra, I guess the biggest thing, I guess our last point before we do close out, and if anybody has another question, we still have 8 minutes on the webinar. You can more than welcome to raise your hand and we'll call on you. But I guess the last one we can touch on, Myra, is just the importance of networking. We've talked about it in and out the conversation here, but really, it has got to be I personally think, the most important thing in this industry. You got to talk to
Yes.
people. You have to know other people. And I always tell my students, ask what they're doing. Hey, what you got going on? What projects are you working on? Because you never know where it may lead to. And Myra, you can just tell us, how important is networking in this industry?
It is 100% important. I remember when I first got to the Ohio Center for Broadcasting, they had told us it is not about what you know, it's about who you know. So, and I took that to heart. I was like, okay, it's all about who I know. So I am like, that's what I was saying. Like any time I met anyone, like all the way down to the people who I was working with, it's like, hey, what's your name? Let me get you on Facebook. Let me get you on Instagram. Let me get you on LinkedIn. It's like I just gained so many more friends. And I made sure not just to get their names, not just to friend them, but to also interact with them. Don't just get a name and just say, oh, well, you know, they're my friend. No, you need to interact with them as well so that they know who you are. You know who they are, but they don't know who you are. So you got to interact with them in order so that they can remember you. So yeah, networking is huge, huge. And I'm telling you, I would not be here at Channel 9 if I would not have networked the way I did.
Couldn't agree more. Could not agree more, Myra. You definitely were awesome today. We thank you for all your insight, for your counsel, and for everything you've said here. You're definitely an awesome personality. And Linda, I think we need to get Myra to Chicago for like a day or two. What do you think about that? Can we get her over
Yeah,
here?
listen, I think that's what happens here. So for those that are on, it's so wonderful when alumni get to meet alumni and you get to see what each other are doing. And whether you're a new graduate or whether you've been on, you're one of our 37-year veterans, right? A graduate from that far back. There's so much that connects everybody, right? And it's, to me, so wonderful. You hear the same story a lot. Network, be that good person, show up, show a willingness to want to learn, follow up. Myra, I heard you say that 100 times. Like, if you don't follow up, nobody's going to go looking for you because nobody really has the time. Everybody's busy. So don't be a nudge. Like, don't call every 3 minutes. Nobody wants that person either. But like Tony said, send that resume again. Okay, you sent it last week, big deal. Send it again, send it in the mail. Do something out of the ordinary. Make yourself stick out, put it on a different color paper. Do something old-fashioned that nobody currently is doing. I once talked to somebody who said that he wanted to be on air, he would send his resume in a record jacket, like if anybody even knows what a record jacket is, because he just stood out different than everybody. So, when I listened to Myra, when I first met Myra, what I was so impressed with was her steadfastness. And when we spoke, all the people that she impacted along the way, not because she was pushy or bossy or any of that kind of thing, because she wanted to learn and they could see that. And look where she is today. And another thing, Tony, thanks a lot for opening the door. But another thing that I really enjoy about this conversation is when you first start out, you take those night shifts, you take those shifts nobody else wants. That's the industry. If you want to get in, more than likely, not always, but that is going to be what happens. But guess what? You get to a point where that starts to change a little bit. And the next thing you know, you're in that place where you're kind of picking out how you want to do it. Will you still work holidays and weekends? Probably so. It's the nature of the beast. But, Myra wants more of a home life now. She's been in the industry for a while. She's looking for a way to bring it home. And she can because she's built what she has so far. I look at you, Tony. I was so glad to meet you in Chicago, right? And not just see you as a 2-inch box, but student, graduate, on-air teaching, your passion for your students is extraordinary. And you're growing your professional life as you want to grow because a lot of people who have opened doors for you to have opportunity. So that's my testimony to everybody. These discussions are so valuable because they're so real.
Yep.
Yeah, that's my PSA for today. Does anybody have a closing comment? Because I'll always take it when offered.
Myra, give us a closing comment.
I am so happy to be here, and I feel so grateful to be able to be a testimony to all of you guys. My closing words to everyone would be to stay consistent, stay persistent, do what you can, show up on time, do what you're supposed to, and you're going to make it. You're going to make it. Believe in yourself.
Thank you so much, Myra. Appreciate it. It was a pleasure meeting
I have
you.
a closing statement.
Go ahead, Dawn.
I just want to say that we need more big girls on the newscast. Lizzo made us popular. We need some big girls. We're beautiful in the face. Some of us are going to get healthy eventually, but we need more big people on TV. This is 2023. You know, not everybody's a size 0 anymore.
Yeah, well, I do
No, I'm
think, I
joking.
do think though, we're seeing all, like I'm here in Cleveland, and when I look at our newscast, our journalists that are on air, our anchors, they look every which way. Seriously, I mean that from
Love
my
that.
whole heart.
It's
The
there.
cookie
Better.
cutter days are definitely,
Done.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's certain things that don't happen, but it really is fascinating and wonderful to have seen that change, and and that relatability. So it's a good closing comment, and we have beautiful guests that have shared so much with us, and really thank you for your time and
You guys are
continued
welcome.
success.
Thank you. You guys
Thank
are
Good
so
night,
welcome.
everybody. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you, Myra.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you.
You guys
Thanks,
are
Tony.
welcome.
Thanks, Linda.
Thank you. Good night.